The 25th Hour Radio Show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today to the 25th Hour Radio Show. I am your host, Rob Fairless. And on the phone today, I have the publisher of Legendary Times magazine and star of the History Channel's hit series, Ancient Aliens, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Hey, man, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me on the show.
You got it. So glad to be here, and can't wait to hear your questions.
Let's start off talking about Ancient Aliens. You have brand new episodes coming out in May next month, right around the corner. Now, are we talking about just a few new episodes, or are we talking about a brand new season here?
I know that we've shot 10-plus episodes, and I can tell you that some episodes will be aired sometime in May. However, if they're going to show all episodes that we've shot in a row, or if they're going to split up the episodes, I cannot tell you because that's at the History Channel's discretion. But if you follow my Twitter or Facebook, I usually tell people, when new episodes are airing and things like that. But, very excited. I just returned from Australia to look at hieroglyphs there, Egyptian hieroglyphs. And I was with Dr. Seth Shostak up at the SETI telescope array, the Allen Array in Hat Creek, California. So we're traveling all around the world to bring you guys the latest in SETI research.
And just so everyone knows who listens to my show, Giorgio, who might not be familiar with Ancient Aliens and what it's about, in your own words, how would you describe it?
Ancient Aliens is a television show that is on the History Channel that has premiered in 2009, that now has over 100 episodes, and it essentially explores the question whether or not Earth has been visited by extraterrestrials in the remote past all the way through the present day. Even though the show is called Ancient Aliens, we are, of course, also exploring modern-day UFO phenomena, because I think, and also the show thinks, that sure, we've been visited in the past, but that doesn't mean we're not being visited currently, or that we have not been visited, or at least been watched or observed for thousands of years, all the way to the present, where the modern UFO phenomenon, in our opinion, or in my opinion at least, is not necessarily a modern phenomenon only, but it's been going on for thousands of years.
Now, if we can go back in history, kind of a pun there intended, how did you yourself become interested in this type of subject matter? What was the initial draw there for you?
Well, I sort of grew up with these topics because my grandma, even though she was a devout Catholic and going to church and all these things, she was also very open-minded. And so, while being religious, she was also interested in alternative history ideas like Atlantis or with Edgar Cayce, but also she was interested in the ancient astronaut theory with Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Däniken. So those are ideas and topics. Whenever my grandma would visit, would be dinner table conversations, and luckily she came over quite often, and so I was exposed to these things fairly young. And then when I was a teenager, I bought a book for my father that he read, and then I read the book as well, and it was a book about the Stone Age by von Däniken, and I read that book in one sitting from the first page to the last, and I was done for. And today this is the research that I do because it's something where the evidence speaks for itself.
Now, as far as the series is concerned, the Ancient Aliens and even in Search of Aliens, were you approached with the idea of doing these shows, or did you have to pitch it to someone to get the approval for it? I mean, how did the series itself come about?
What happened in 2008, if you recall, the new Indiana Jones movie came out, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And sometimes on the History Channel in the past, you could see documentaries about it that were released in conjunction with movie releases. For example, when the new Batman movies came out, or the Spider-Man movies, or Star Wars and things like that, there were documentaries out there called Spider-Man Tech or Batman Tech or all sorts of, or Star Wars text, all these explorations behind the movies. And one of them was called Indiana Jones and the Ultimate Quest. And that was a 2-hour documentary or exploration about the 3 previous Indiana Jones movies, Raiders, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. And also, they reserved, the last act of the show was reserved for Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Crystal and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it was the company was not approached by Lucasfilm with the contents of the movie, but only the poster. And so now I should tell you what company or what production company was approached, and that's Prometheus Entertainment, with Kevin Burns as the owner of that company, as the executive producer. And he saw the poster, and if you recall, it's the skull of a proverbial extraterrestrial. And Kevin said, "This is Chariots of the Gods. They're doing Chariots of the Gods." And sure enough, it was an ancient astronaut related, or an ancient astronaut themed movie where, the knowledge that was given to us in the past, it wasn't, or the treasure that was given to us in the past wasn't gold, but it was knowledge. It was the knowledge for different scientific disciplines. And so I was approached by Prometheus to appear in that one act about ancient astronauts, and one thing led to the other. I was asked once, after the documentary aired, if Eric von Daniken is still alive, and I said, "Of course he is. We publish a magazine together." And then I was asked, "Well, would you guys be interested in making a documentary, Chariots of the Gods, 40 years later?" Because at the time, 2008, 2009, that is when Chariots of the Gods had been published in '68 in German, and in 1970s here in the States. What an update. And so we did a show called Chariots, Gods, and Beyond, then called Ancient Aliens, and it was wildly successful, and here we are 100 episodes later. And I really have to say, though, that the only reason why we're still here is solely because of the fans. The wonderful wide reception and the popularity this show has gained it's tremendous. I mean, we never thought, after one season, we thought, this is it, it's over. And then more orders of seasons came in because the show became more and more successful. And, Prometheus is doing a tremendous job at putting these shows together. But at the same time, the fans' reaction and reception and the love for what we do has been absolutely tremendous. And for that, I'm very thankful.
I want everyone listening to know that I myself am a huge fan of Ancient Aliens. I think it's one of the best shows on television, as a matter of fact. And as a fan of the show, I'm getting kind of nervous because you've been around since like 2010, 2009, and I don't want the series to end, man. Is there still a ton of evidence out there that hasn't been tapped into, that hasn't been put on the show?
That's really interesting, because at this point there are some things that even I am very curious about, because you have to understand that that we have a tremendous research team behind the scenes that has a massive library at their office that is scouring over maps and books and different files and things like this. So there is a tremendous team behind looking for more mysteries or other mysteries that we have not yet covered. For example, just the other day, I did an interview for these new episodes of Ancient Aliens, and there was a story about this Chinese/Indian deity called Bogar, and he was described as having had these visions from 3100 BC, where he envisioned, and he gave concise descriptions of what can be referred to today as trains, planes, steam engines, and things like that. And now that is something that is right up my alley, but I had no idea that these descriptions existed. So that's something that the team brought to my attention, and they're doing an incredible job. So yes, we do have materials, and so it's definitely a continued exploration of the unknown.
And like I mentioned earlier in the intro to the show, you're involved with other things besides Ancient Aliens, for instance, Legendary Times. For those like me who are fans of the show but who are possibly unaware of this other source of information, what is Legendary Times?
Yeah, so the Ancient Aliens, you're right. It's sort of, this wonderful thing that happened alongside a magazine that I've been publishing since 1998 called Legendary Times. And it's the only magazine that's dedicated to the ancient astronaut theory. And I'm really excited to tell everyone that in a couple of months, 2 new double issues will come out. And I'm very excited about that.
And if I'm not mistaken, you do a lot of public appearances, seminars, and I think you have something coming up with Eric von Daniken in July, right?
Yes, this July, I'm actually going to go on a 7-day cruise to Croatia along the Croatian coast with Eric for 7 days, where you get to enjoy us every day for a couple of hours. We'll give information, we'll share photos and give lectures and things like that, and share our research with images and the photos that we've taken. Contact in the Desert is coming up in Joshua Tree fairly soon, and then I'm going to be at the Edgar Cayce conference in October in Virginia Beach. I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York in November. The schedule is filled.
Yeah, you're pretty booked there. Yeah. And man, other than looking for signs of ancient astronauts, what do you do to pass the time? You got any hobbies or anything like that you use as an outlet just to get away from it all?
I love going to the movies. I love going to concerts, and we're close to the beach, so I like going to the water sometimes.
There you go. So where can people go as far as website, social media, to get all the information on you and your current projects?
So social media, that would be facebook.com/Giorgio Tsoukalos fans. Twitter is @Tsoukalos, that's TSOUKALOS. And the website is legendarytimesbooks.com.
Well, everyone, make sure you check out the brand new episodes of Ancient Aliens coming out in May on the History Channel. Giorgio, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me on the show.
Thank you very much. Take care.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.